Okay, let's have a look at question 4 for English Language Paper 2 on AQA. We're going to talk about how to approach this question, and in the next video we'll have a look at a modelled response so you get to see it in action. Now, question 4, the way that the question is phrased, it will say very, very clearly, compare how the writers convey, and then it's likely to be, perspectives. That's the most common one. And pretty frequently feelings as well. And then sometimes you will have attitudes. And then even more occasionally, you'll have thoughts. But essentially, it is how they think and feel about something in the text. So it will then, once it's done that, it will then say towards X, and it will be the main thing in the text. Okay, so compare how the writers convey blah 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 towards blah blah blah. Okay, so the word compare, quite simply, means that you're going to need to synthesize your two texts, so talk about them at the same time, and you are going to need to quote from both. Okay, then notice the language choice in the question of how the writers convey. Okay, now what that means is you are going to need to analyze their methods. Okay, and the outcome of all of them, the outcome of the methods that they each use, are going to be to show their perspectives, feelings, attitudes, or thoughts towards whatever X is. And it will name X, obviously, in the question. It won't just say X. Okay, so that's the way that the question is phrased. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to put our two texts next to each other. Okay, our two texts we're going to put next to each other. Okay, so let's say that this on the left hand side is going to be text 1, and then over on the right hand side, and then over on the right hand side, we're going to have text 2. Okay, so text 1, text 2. Okay, and the approach that we're going to take is as follows. We're going to go through our texts individually, and we're going to find any time the writer mentions the theme that is X, whatever the theme is for X. And we're going to find it in both. Okay, anytime it's brought up, and it will be quite a lot because it's likely to be the main focus. Then what we're going to go through and do is, or as we're going to be labeling the vibe. Okay, we're going to be labeling any vibe that is created at any point in the text. And we're going to do it for both. Anytime it's mentioned, the vibe that's being created, you'll notice that you probably got a few things that are repeated. And at that point, what you should be able to find, and the text have been written or chosen in such a way as to allow this, is you'll find that the vibe will match. Either it will be really contrasting or it will be really similar. Okay? And there will be something to do with the vibe that you can contrast or compare, connect with the opposite text. Okay, that's how you find your similarities when it comes to perspectives, feelings, attitudes, thoughts, because those are all vibes. Okay, so if you can label the vibes first and then find, oh well, I've called this one cheerful and I've called this one chirpy. That's basically the same word. I'm going to link these two. Or I've called this one upbeat and I've called this one depressing. Okay, those are clearly opposites. And that's how you find your differences. And I'd say 3 or 4 differences, if you're going to analyze the language in depth, are going to be plenty. And then the approach to writing, the approach that we recommend here at My Headspace is leadhead. Okay? Leadhead, very, very simple. I've talked about it many times before. If you've seen any of my content before, you'll know that The L stands for link, the E stands for evidence from text 1, the A for analysis from text 1, and the D for dissection from text 1. The H stands for hookup, the E stands for evidence from text 2, the A for analysis from text 2, and the D for dissection from text 2. Now, what I'm hoping that you notice is that EAD is just your analytical structure. It's what you do anytime you analyze language or structure. You give a piece of evidence from the text, you analyze what it is suggesting, and then you dissect by zooming in and pulling apart specific language choices within it. The only comparison job that you need to do is to link the texts at the start. So that's going to be your synthesis, where you say something like, both texts address X aspect of the theme, but text 1, blah, 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 and text 2, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's your synthesis. Your opening sentence is probably the most important sentence of your paragraphs. And then for the hookup, that's much, much simpler. That's just going to be your linking phrase or word. So it might be similarly, if you're kind of making a comparison where you're linking them and it's a similarity, you might be in contrast or conversely, or on the other hand, if it is a difference. Okay, so those phrases are just going to connect you from one piece of analysis of text 1 to your next piece of analysis of text 2. Okay, and your synthesis is just what stands at the top to establish what the paragraph that follows is all going to be about. Okay, in our next video, we're going to have a look at a model version of this, and hopefully it will make even more sense. Okay.